Welcome everyone to my review of IDW Sonic Imposter Syndrome Issue 3. Spoilers from this point forward. We're entering the second half of the miniseries, and so far, Dr. Starline's plan to break the Sonic cycle is going relatively smoothly. He took over another Eggman base with the help of his creations, Surge and Kit. He was so happy about this victory that he failed to notice something's off about the two. During the operation, Surge survived an attack that should have killed her. This led them to wonder, what exactly did Starline do to them? So now they're off to hack into his logs to get the answers. We begin with yet another log entry, though instead of the calm, collected Starline, we get one that's completely snapped. The file name clues us in on when it was made. S0N-1C0-25B. Sonic 25. The issue Eggman fired Starline in the most humiliating way possible. Starline did not take that well. At that point in time, he was working on a new revolutionary prototype machine frame that he wanted to show Eggman. But after being tossed aside like a rag doll, he hoped that the eventual final product will run circles around Metal Sonic. He even goes as far as calling out the robotic doppelganger. He's that petty. We move to a new log entry labeled B40-GU7-04B, placing this after the events of Bad Guys Issue 4. Starline reflected on the events of that miniseries and realized he was being short-sighted. In order to control a chaotic and unpredictable world, he would need the will and ingenuity of living beings rather than orderly machines. So rather than putting animals in machines, he went and did the opposite while proudly displaying Surge and Kit in the tubes. Nice way of censoring things, by the way, using Starline's hands to cover up their bare feet. Makes you wonder if they have actual feet with toes, or the blobby Sega type. Speaking of Surge and Kit, they are indeed watching these files to learn more about themselves. This brings us to our third data log, P05-757-H44. Translation, post STH44, meaning this log was made after issue 44. Starline had gathered the necessary ingredients to emulate the abilities of the Speedy Hedgehogs and Tails. Keyword, emulate, not full-on replication. To compensate, Kit would need external support, and Surge needed electromagnetic propulsion. Yes, we see how Starline got biodata from Sonic and Shadow. He accessed the Neo Metal Sonic files. Finally, Starline mentioned the acquisition of Bell's coding, and using that as a means to control his enforcers. Oh, it gets better. Not only did he bring up the hypnosis failsafe, he mentioned that he was going to use Bell's coding to override any existing personalities in order to make them who and what he wants them to be. We see this in action as Starline subjugated Surge and Kit to a series of hypnosis until, after multiple sessions, he got the personalities he wanted. We move on to a fourth log entry, PR3-1MP-SYM. Pre-Imposter Syndrome. It featured Surge and Kit going through a training montage. Starline also revealed the reason the two can take a lot of punishment. He repurposed the resilience of the metal virus, aka the Zombot's invulnerability, into safe cellular upgrades to complement their cybernetics. While it helps them physically, psychologically is a whole nother story. Going through all that brutal training has really messed with the two's head, and Starline berating them does not help. Of course, every time they break down, Starline resets them. Though every time he does this, their memories aren't completely erased as they were learning and improving. Eventually, they would reach the moment where we first saw them at the beginning of this miniseries. To say Surge and Kit are upset by this is an understatement. After seeing enough footage, Surge wants Kit to find out who they were before Starline got a hold of them. And there's nothing. Starline, walking in on them, says their past is irrelevant. That's not good enough for Surge. Before Starline hypnotizes her into submission again, Surge orders Kit to attack. Despite Starline trying to evade and counterattack with his Tricore, he made his enforcers a little too well, and soon he's disarmed and captured. He tries pleading with them using the old "I know your past" shtick, but Surge will have none of it and knocks him out with the Hypno Glove. Utterly broken by the revelations, Surge wants to now burn everything and everyone to the ground, because according to her, if they don't have a past, the world does not get a future. Kit's on board with the idea, and he suggests they follow Starline's plan up to a certain point. Then, at the right moment, break off and take out everyone: Sonic, Eggman, and Starline. Later, Starline wakes up, and Surge explains how he's fallen asleep while monologuing on how she and Kit were made as part of a pre-mission prep. Due to a combination of the post-hypnotic haze and Surge and Kit selling the act, Starline buys it. He starts laying out the plan on how they'll infiltrate Eggman's capital city and upload the override program. This will get the heroes' attention, and they'll head off to investigate. When the moment comes, he wants Surge and Kit to take out their targets, not realizing he's now one as well. Well, it's official. Starline pulled a Dr. Gero in order to achieve his goals. And similar to Android 17 and 18, Surge and Kit rebelled. Though thankfully for Starline, his head did not end up being squashed like a grape. For now. At least he got a taste of his own medicine. Still, Starline has crossed the line, taking two random individuals and altering them into knockoffs of the main heroes rather than create his own from scratch. That's approaching Archie Eggman levels of villainy, and he did some nasty things pre and post reboot. It makes you wonder if Starline would have preferred that version of his idol. In some ways, Starline is worse than Archie Eggman. I think it's because we actually saw the horrific transformation from who Surge and Kit possibly were to who they are now. I admit, Archie Eggman has done some cruel things like trick a pair of siblings to become his cyborg egg bosses in exchange for curing one of them of a disease, and later admitted to the healthy one that he didn't, but at least we knew some history regarding the Pronghorn sisters. Here, we know nothing about Surge and Kit's past. Surge even speculated on who they might have been before. One thing is certain, whoever they were in the past, the two are close enough species-wise to the main heroes, and that's good enough for Starline. There's also the added trauma of all that training, and the mistreatment of the two if they did not live up to Starline's expectations. Even Eggman, at least IDW Eggman, treats Metal Sonic better than this, if you ignore the Sonic Heroes incident. No wonder Surge and Kit snapped when they saw the footage. Once again, Starline's plan is in jeopardy because he had to make detailed logs that anyone can hack into. I know I keep saying this, but this time, thanks to his inability to shut his beak, the cost may be high. Surge was hit the hardest by the revelation. To learn that her punkish attitude was just a construct of a madman in order to take down the main hero? It seems she lost a lot of her cockiness and is now confused, scared, and sad. Who can blame her? She and Kit had a past that she wanted to know about. But Starline did not include that information in the files because, as he said, it's irrelevant. I do hope Ian and or Evan answers this question down the line because I too want to know where they came from. Kit's attitude also changed thanks to the revelation. After they planned to betray Starline, he seems more calm and collected, while giving off a cold vibe. Even his attacks seem deadlier compared to last issue. I think it's because here, his eyes are lit up, like they're laser focused on their target. At this point, I'm of two minds about Surge and Kit. I sympathize with their situation of not knowing who they were and the trauma they went through. And good for them for betraying Starline. It's the burn everything plan that makes me raise an eyebrow a bit. It's understandable why they're doing this. Though I now hope the real heroes can thwart their scheme. Just a couple more random bits. Surge mentioning Gaia is a nod to the Sonic Unleashed deities, though I'm still wondering how that would work, since as far as I know, since the Two Worlds thing is still at play, and the events of that game took place on the human world. Then we have Surge reenacting the Peter Griffin on the ground meme. And finally, and I didn't know this until this issue, but Surge's accessories double as the electromagnetic propulsion Starline mentioned. Probably should have seen it earlier since I saw electricity flowing through them. Issue 3 provided many answers by calling back to previous events, while also setting up the direction for what's to come. The final issue will have the three take on Eggman himself, and we'll see how that goes down when it comes out in May. April will be dedicated to issue 49, with Sonic, Tails, and Bell investigating an odd signal from the Badniks, the very thing Starline was counting on. It's all starting to come together, and I'll see you on the next leg of the overall journey. Surge making some snarky commentary while watching some footage. This thing will never catch on.